Welcome to the One Person Shop. I'm Pete Zielinski, Modern Machine Shop, and we are doing this video series on ideas, products, technology that allow a very small shop to be very effective. The shop we're at is Dan's Custom Machining, Williamsburg, Ohio. The one person in this one person shop is sole proprietor Dan Donaworth. Dan, thank you for having us.
No problem, thank you for coming.
So with this episode, we're going to look at the software side of this. The challenge of programming time for a job shop, particularly a small job shop. Talk about that a little bit, Dan. How big a deal is the impact of programming time on the work you do?
Programming time is the big impact for us because we're only doing one-offs of things, maybe 5 of a part, 10 at most, for most of the stuff that comes through. For us, you want to get the program wrote as fast as possible and out to the machine. You don't want to waste time trying to nitpick every part down to the second, because if you spend 10 minutes to save 1 minute on a part that you're only going to run 2 of, you wasted more time at a computer than you are at the machine.
The device we're going to talk about for speeding programming time is templates, a resource that's available in many CAM systems. Talk about what that means. What is a template in CAM software and how does it save you time?
A template in CAM software is just a part that you use to save all the features on. So say you have a 4140 HT part from a customer and you know the tap sizes, drill sizes, end mills that you use. If you need to go into smaller pockets and then come back in with another one to do an adaptive, you can set all your rest machining up to where it's just simple, load it into the part that you're working on, click the features that you want for each operation and generate it, and off to the machine you are.
So, CAM templates, a way to capture your knowledge, sort of pre-package a part of the program related to a given feature, a given tool, so that you can call it up again and you don't have to think through it again. Is that right?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
You didn't always do it this way. Early on, this shop was much newer and you were happy to get the job and you were programming part after part, but now you rely pretty heavily on CAM templates. And talk about how you made that transition. Where did the realization come that you needed to rely on this resource within the software?
When we first started out, our tool library we always had dedicated to different speeds and feeds for the tool, but it still doesn't have, when you click on an operation, the radial width of cut, the depth of cut that you want, or the rest machining if you're coming in with smaller tools down the road. Say you're going to come in with a 1/2 inch tool, then go 1/4 inch, then 1/8 inch to remove all the material. The most effective way is adjust your rest material that you're using. So when we were spending so much time and even breaking tools and forgetting to change the default radial width of cut for something, and it would take too big of one and snap an end mill, I had to start thinking of a way to speed up the process besides just having the speeds and feeds set in. Do other cutting parameters instead.
Because in that moment, snap the tool, it's because in the past, you knew how to machine that feature well, it's just you didn't have that top of mind when you were programming it again.
Exactly.
Maybe give an example and talk that out. A situation that might look like what comes up frequently in this shop, and talk about how you draw on CAM templates and how it makes programming so much easier.
So let's say we have a part that you're gonna rough the outside with a 1/2 inch cutter and 4140 HT, and then you're gonna come in with a high feed mill, do some high feed milling, and then drill and tap some holes. You would just load in that template for that customer that uses the standard tap sizes and all that, and it would also import the 1/2 inch end mill and the high feed mill, and all your cutting parameters would be set as far as depth of cut, width of cut, and everything like that.
And all those parameters are in there because those are the parameters you've figured out from past jobs on your machine and how to tune in that process just right.
That is correct. I mean, everything gets updated. We have a master template that we can go in. So say we try out a whole new cutter for a high feed mill from a different tooling brand, and we tend to like that one better. We can get better removal rate. I can go in, edit the master template, so then every time you draw in the template, it's all correct.
Programming takes time because thinking takes time because remembering what you know takes time. So store all of that knowledge, all of those parameters that have worked so well inside of templates within the CAM software and allow programming to be that much quicker and easier. Thank you, Dan.
No problem.